Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the public meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals in Tuckahoe for January the 10th. Please join me for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Nancy, please call the roll.
Member Fiore.
Here.
Member Lang.
Present.
Member Jackman.
Present.
Chairman Greenwald.
Present. First agenda item is the approval of the minutes of the December the 13th meeting. Members had a chance to read it. Do you have any comments, additions, deletions?
None.
None? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December the 13th, 2017 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First agenda item at 180 Lake is adjourned. Gary, question, how long can they continue to adjourn?
It's up to the,
It's up to them?
it's up to you. I think Ms. Williams said they're going to be back next month, but that would ultimately be your determination.
All right, thank you. Next item is a special permit extension for 100 Marbledale Road. Is the applicant present? Please step up. Good evening. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Edward Quinteri, 100 Marbledale Road.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that the public hearing is closed on this matter. Do you have any additional questions or concerns?
I do not.
Any board members have any additional questions or concerns before we proceed?
Has the vent been completed that you provided pictures of?
It isn't complete.
It isn't complete
It's
yet.
just been too cold and snowy up there to get back up there.
But that'll be done relatively
yeah,
quickly,
as
I
soon as the
assume.
weather breaks, we'll get it finished.
All right, and that's part of his approval, correct, Bill? Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Seeing no other questions, you can have a seat and we'll go through the formalities.
Thank you, sir.
Does any member have a resolution in the form of a motion regarding 100 Marbledale they'd like to present?
I do.
Please proceed.
This application is for extension of a special permit requested by Fleet Collision Corporation, whose address is 100 Marbledale Road, Tuckahoe, New York. On December 14, 2011, this board approved the applicant for a special permit to operate a repair body shop at 100 Marbledale Road per the Village of Tuckahoe zoning code, and special permit for a repair body shop shall automatically expire 5 years from the date of approval. The applicant is therefore seeking to extend its special permit for an additional 5 years. At the public hearing, this board heard from a neighbor who owns a residential property behind the applicant's location, who stated that smells emanate from the applicant's spray booth's exhaust, and during the summer months, the smells impacted his use of enjoyment of his outdoor yard. Subsequent to hearing the neighbor, the applicant, without direction from this board, redirected the exhaust of the spray booth to the front of the property so as to eliminate or lessen the impact of the smells on the neighbor. We appreciate the applicant taking the voluntary steps to address the neighbor's concerns. Further, as a condition of this approval, we shall limit the Saturday hours of the applicant's business from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. This restriction shall also help to alleviate the impact on the residential neighborhood behind the applicant. Therefore, the request to extend the special permit is granted with the conditions stated above. Lastly, based on this application as submitted, this zoning board of appeals finds and determines that 1, the action taken herein as an unlisted action subject to the requirements of SECRA and its implementing regulations. 2, the zoning board of appeals is in possession of all information reasonably necessary to make the determination as to the environmental significance of the proposed area variance application. And 3, that the action taken herein shall not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and it is declared that a negative declaration is hereby adopted with regard to this action.
Okay, thank you, Member Lang. Do I have a second to this motion?
Second.
Nancy, please poll the board.
Member Fiore.
In favor?
Member Lang.
In favor.
Member Jackman.
In favor.
Chairman Greenwald.
In favor. Congratulations. Good luck. Good night. Thank you, Danny. Next agenda item is 20 Underhill, side yard variance for a deck. Hi. Just state your name and address for the records, please.
Phúc Chun Phan, 20 Underhill Street, Tuckahoe, New
Thank-
York.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to remind everyone that the public hearing is still open on 20 Underhill. Anyone from the public? I see none. I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing regarding 20 Underhill. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. You can have a seat now. We'll go through the formalities. Thank you very much. Does a member have a resolution in the form of a motion regarding 20 Underhill?
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
This application for area variance requested by Mr. and Mrs. Fon, whose address is 20 Underhill Street, Tuckahoe, New York, Section 33, Block 8, Lot 22. The relief from the following section of the zoning code, 4-3, 4-2 side yard, 4-3, 4.6 buffer, and 5-1.6.3, enlarging a nonconformity. Secret resolution. Based on this application as submitted, the zoning board of appeals finds that determines that, 1, the action taken herein is the unlisted action subject to the requirements of secret and its implementing regulations. 2, the zoning board of appeals in this procession of all information reasonably necessary to make the determination as to environmentally significance of the proposed area variance application. 3, that the action taken herein shall not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and is declared that a negative declaration is hereby adopted with the regards of this action.
Thank you, Member Fiore. Thank you, Member Fiore. Do I have a second to the motion?
Second.
Nancy, please poll the board.
Member Fiore,
In favor?
Member Lang,
Favor.
Member Jackman,
In favor.
Chairman Ringwald.
In favor. Member Fiore, please continue.
Applicants Mr. and Mrs. Fund are seeking to enlarge and improve an existing nonconforming deck in the rear of their property. The applicant's property is adjacent to the Tuckahoe Village Hall. We have heard the applicant at the work session, the public hearing, and note that has been no public opposition to proposed improvements. Recommendation for the area variance to be granted as a benefit of the applicant. The area variance outweighs the detriment of health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. In this application, applying the balancing test, the zoning board finds that the benefit of the applicant overweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. Okay, 1, there will not be any undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood, and there will not be any detriment to the nearby properties. By granting this application, detriment to the surrounding properties will not be produced. The improvements are to be made to the rear deck, and there will be no impact as the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the nearby properties. 2, the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than area variance. Based on the lot size and zoning classification, the applicant cannot achieve the improvements to their rear yard, absent the granting of the sought area variance. 3, the requested variance are not substantial, although on its face it appears that the variances are substantial. There is an existing deck which is already non-conforming, and the improvements will enhance the property in question. 4, the proposed variance will not have any adverse impact on the physical or environmental condition of the neighborhood, in that environmental conditions such as noise, parking, and traffic, and negative aesthetics will not be increased as a result of this application. 5, the alleged difficulty was self-created. Although the alleged difficulty was self-created, it is not fatal to this application. That's my motion.
Thank you, Member Fiore. Do I have a second to the motion?
Second.
Nancy, please poll the board.
Member Fiore,
In favor?
Member Lang,
Favor.
Member Jackman,
In favor.
Chairman Ringwald.
In favor. That's it.
Good?
Congratulations. Good luck.
Enjoy your new deck.
Good?
Enjoy your new deck, yes. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck.
So concludes the regular business for this evening. We have a discussion item, exemption of basements from the FAR in single-family homes. Mr. Williams, are you going to present anything regarding this?
No, we had a presentation earlier at the work session for everyone to look at the proposal and what, if any, impact it would have on the 3 zones with the single-family houses.
And your presentation has already also been made to the planning board, which should be on record and available online through the village's YouTube videos.
Correct.
Okay.
That was the last planning board meeting is where they had that discussion, and Bill went through that whole presentation, same one he
Right.
gave to you in the work session.
So any members of the public that want to find out what we're talking about, they can go on to the last planning board meeting and see that presentation.
Correct. That'll be on our website. So what happened here was the village board's exploring removing a finished basement from the FAR in single-family homes. It's in the preliminary stages. They've asked the planning board and the zoning board to review this possible change and to make comments, see if they have any comments, which they'll take into consideration. And they'll see if they're going to move forward with this change. So I think that's why it's on a discussion item tonight, and they just want to, they'll review the minutes, they'll review the tape of this meeting and see what your guys' thoughts are.
Tom, you want me to start?
Sure.
All right, my comments are in general, I'm in favor of it. I mean, I myself am in the situation where I have a basement I would love to use, and I know many of my neighbors are in the same situation, where allowing families this extra space within their house that would then not force them to come in front of this board, have a costly application, go through the entire 2-3 month approval process, I think is a huge plus for members of this village. My concerns might be the impact to any new developments we might have coming into the village. However, based on the very strict side, front, and backyard requirements we have here, I don't believe this impact would be enough to cause concern for me. I think we just need to be a little more judicious sometimes when we talk about these. We had some recent approvals where we had properties who were over the FAR and asking, maybe a small amount, but asking for us to, to let them have a variance. And I think if we're going to allow this change, we should look a little more closely at new applications to make sure they're taking advantage of this basement exclusion from FAR in conjunction with their other floors. And, is there really a necessity for them to go over the FAR, or is it just kind of a want? That's it.
Any other members have a comment?
Well, the fact that it's just single-family homes, I'm in favor of that. To be able to utilize your basement with your children, perhaps a couch and a little TV or something. With, I'm definitely in favor of that with just the single-family homes.
Yeah, I would agree. The proposal, in theory, would allow a homeowner in a single-family home to increase their living space without increasing the footprint. So I don't see any reason why not.
And most importantly, avoiding coming in front of us and
Right.
paying $1,000. I think that's the biggest benefit. They can come in right now and have it included in their FAR, and we would probably give them an approval, but they'd have to pay $1,000. They'd have to come in here for 2 months. It's a whole nightmare if you just want to put a little playroom for the kids downstairs or something. So I think it's a huge plus.
And
I know there's some concerns about people knocking down houses, and I mean, I can't see that, in actuality happening. I mean, common sense tells you that most people aren't going to buy a house in Tuckahoe and then knock it down. That's,
You can't increase the footprint, so
yeah.
what
You're
would be
limited
the
to,
advantage?
if anything, a lot of the houses around here are already non-conforming, and if you knock it down, you're going to have to
Right.
actually lower the footprint, if anything, right, Bill? Yeah.
And you have a height variance of 35 feet, so it really would prevent any of that misuse. It really would just target finishing your basement and not including it in the FAR.
Yes.
And whoever's going to do the improvements would still need to come before the building department to get their permits.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like they can go ahead and finish their basement without going through the proper channels with the building department. They just wouldn't have to come before this board for a variance.
So for one families, to me, it's a no-brainer, allowing them to do this. Now, the one thing I wanted to clarify, Bill, I didn't quite understand it, to be honest, was when we're talking about these two-family zones, there are one families currently in a two-family zone that would fall under this rule, correct?
Yes, and I don't know how many of you are familiar, but we just had a new home built over on Lake Avenue, Upper Lake, and that's a two-family zone, but we have two houses there now that converted to one family that were twos.
Yep.
One came before your board when they did the front,
Yep.
and the new house in the back. So there are single-family homes in the two-family zone.
Now, what I'm trying to understand, though, is that so let's say one of these one-family homes in a two-family zone comes in front of us, and they want their, they've in the past had this new FAR exclusion applied to their basement. They want to convert into a two-family. What's the process at that point?
What they would have to do is come in, make their building application. They would now have to meet the new requirements of 7,500 square feet, not 5,000. And then whatever the FAR would be allowed would now include their basement.
Okay, so essentially their prior exclusion disappears once they try to
Yes,
convert
it
to a
does.
two-family. Okay, so really it's only for one family. As soon as they try to convert to a two-family, it comes back into the equation.
It does.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
There's one question. No one can use it for an apartment, could they?
No, because then if you're going to put an apartment in a single family, it's no longer a single family.
Family.
It would be a two-family.
Okay.
Why did the board decide to make this change now?
Well, they haven't yet. They're just exploring it.
Or exploring it? Why are
was,
they exploring it now?
I think there was a few of us that had gotten together. It was Mr. Williams, myself, the mayor, Trustee Alfasi, Mr. Burke, to look at the code to see what changes could be made to make it easier on families, and see if there's improvements there that would make life easier.
I'm assuming there's also been informal community feedback regarding a desire for basement space? Okay, thank you.
And you had mentioned neighboring communities already adopt this where the basement is not included in the FAR, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So Bronxville, Eastchester, Scarsdale, all of them already reflect the current, what we're talking about here, going to this exclusion of FAR.
Eastchester definitely, we looked at, because we're in the
Yep.
town of Eastchester. They do not include the basement in their FAR.
Okay,
Okay, good.
thank you.
Good.
And the other point I want to make is if there is an illegal basement, if somebody does have an illegal basement, a single-family home, it doesn't mean it automatically becomes legal. They would, they would have to go to the building department to still legalize it, because they would have to do those inspections to make sure it's up to code, and they would have to pay any administrative fees for doing work without a permit. So it wouldn't benefit people that put in illegal basements.
But it would at least allow them a way to legalize it a little more easily than coming in front of the zoning board. They can come into Bill now, pay their "I'm sorry I did this" fees, and then kind of move on with life. And now it can be sold as part of, if they ever want to sell their house, it can be included in the value of the home, these sort of things. Okay,
100% correct.
thank you.
We propose an amnesty day or period?
Never.
Never.
With Mr. Williams, no. That would be up to the board, correct.
I mean, that might be a recommendation, is maybe not getting rid of the fees, but possibly providing over the next 6 months, if you come in and legalize your basement, we'll cut the administration charge in half. But that would be my one recommendation maybe, but that's up to the board. It would encourage, I think, a lot of homeowners who might want to look at a house sale in the future to legalize things.
Okay, do you need any other feedback from us? I think you got a general sense that we're in favor. I know I am.
Yeah, I am. No, no problem with
No,
it.
I think that's what the board's looking for, is looking for input from the, both boards. Planning board's commented on it already. They're gonna, I think, continue the discussion this month, but I think it's pretty clear where you guys are at with it.
So that the board, they'll bring this up at the board meeting, so the public will be aware of it, and,
Yeah, if they decide to go forward with
Go
this,
forward,
there would
yeah.
be public hearings and things like that
Okay.
before the village board, absolutely.
Good.
And that's where the public can comment on it. They're just, this is a preliminary thing where they're looking to the planning and zoning boards to see what their thoughts on it before even looking to go forward with it.
I think we just need to be clear with residents that if they do this, there is an impact to their property taxes. That's another, you know, this isn't a impact-free thing. You add all this space onto your house, there's going to be an impact to your property tax.
Right, generally, if you file for a building
Yep.
permit, get a certificate of occupancy to prove your house, the value of your house is increased, so
I
you're,
just think we need to be upfront with that. If people are going to
Sure.
legalize their basements, they need to understand there will be an impact monetarily. May not be large, but they need to eyes wide open. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
We're good? Okay. Seeing no further business, I'm going to make a motion to close this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and good night, Tuckahoe.